Yo, what's up? Dr. Swole here, MD bodybuilder, back with another video in my 2020 contest prep series. So first of all, just to get this out of the way, we're getting close to 1,000 subscribers, and I just wanted to get your input on any ideas for my 1,000 subscriber video. I asked for some feedback on my Instagram story, and a couple of ideas were a personal Q&A or a shirtless cooking video. So if you have any ideas for me, post them in the comments below. We're 10 weeks out right now. Things are getting really hard. We'll start with a physique and weight update, talk about my first actual macro drop in prep so far, and then we'll go through my approach to the digging phase.
Here's my physique update. Abs are looking a little bit crisper and you're starting to get a bit of that grainy look over them. On this side pose, I can see again that distinction between the lower abs and the obliques, which I'm happy about. On my back pose, you're starting to see a little bit crisper definition along the areas of my lower back. Right is definitely my better side pose, and here you can see my obliques definitely showing through well. Here are a couple standard bodybuilding poses. You can see the striations of my delt as well as my obliques coming in. Again, you can see the lat striations and those lower back striations that we commented on last time. Still a little bit of fat to lose in this lower back region here. And on the side poses, you can actually start to see a few hints of glute striations, which I'm really excited about. Over here, you've got that main dent in the glute and a couple hints of lower glute lines. Body fat's probably around 7 to 8%. All right, so here's my weight. I left off at 15 weeks out. Over a 3-week period, I lost about 2 pounds. If you look here, 152.6 down to 150.8. And then I took a diet break. So I'm using this new notation where whenever I'm eating at maintenance, I color it red. So that would take my refeeds as well as diet breaks. Since then, this 150.2, I haven't really hit a new prep low. I got 150 flat this morning, and it does generally look like numbers are trending down a little bit, but I think it's time for a calorie drop. Just in terms of the other notation here, you'll see I've started logging when I've been seeing new physical changes. So when I started seeing my first ab veins on my obliques, and just putting notes there. You'll also notice that I've used this blue coloring to denote which block I'm in. So I'm starting a new block, OB-GYN, this month. So 1 week at this new set of macros, and then I'll be taking a diet break. This USMLE is my American licensing exam, which I'll be writing in Philadelphia next week on January 29th. And I've timed a deload and my diet break during my trip to Philadelphia, and I'll be in New York from Thursday to Sunday.
So we're going to talk a little bit about my calorie drop. Now, this is the first time I'm actually dropping my macros officially in my meal plan, and it's been something like 4 months of prep so far, so I'm really happy with how far I've gotten. I basically lost about 13.5 pounds without formally changing my macros. My refeeds generally have gone down in terms of calories, but as you know, I auto-regulate those, so you don't see them necessarily in my meal plan. Now, in terms of dropping calories in a cut, I think it's ideal if you can get away with small increments in calories, like dropping about 100 to 150 calories at a time. This way, you can ensure that you're keeping the most number of calories in your meal plan while continuing to lose weight. In terms of figuring out when to actually drop your macros in a cut, I think there are 3 criteria you should look at carefully. First of all, think about dropping calories if your weight has been static for several weeks. I usually say don't change anything until nothing's been budging for at least a 2-week period to make sure you're not jumping the gun in terms of imposing calorie drops too soon. Often during prep, fluctuations in water weight and your bowel movements can have a big impact on your scale weight, and changes in the actual numbers might be unpredictable. The next thing you should look at is how well your training is going. For me, as a general rule, if my performance is maintained in the gym, I'm pretty satisfied that I'm not losing muscle. If your training performance is plummeting, you should be careful about dropping macros further. Lastly, take a look at yourself in the mirror and in your pictures. You don't want to be getting too flat for too long because it often indicates a state where you're at risk for losing muscle. So in terms of where I'm at right now, my weight has been fairly stable and I haven't really hit a new low for at least 2 weeks. My training is going really well, actually. I'm pretty much maintaining all my numbers and even still improving in some lifts. And I'm pretty happy with how I'm looking. My muscle bellies are still looking pretty full. So the plan is to start things off this week. I'm just gonna cut half of my morning bagel, which is about 120 calories, and see where that takes me.
Here's my meal plan. It's basically the same as it was before. I just halved my morning bagel with breakfast. Proteins at 180, carbs 250, fats 35, and calories are around 2050.
Now I want to talk a little bit about the digging phase. So the digging phase is a term used in bodybuilding to describe the last 1 or 2 months of contest prep when you're cracking that single-digit body fat percentage. This has generally been related to abnormalities in your hormone production in the body, which gets thrown off when you reach these really low body fat percentages. Namely, there have been a few case studies that have shown significant drops in testosterone and thyroid in dieting bodybuilders. For me, as soon as I cracked about 155 pounds, I started noticing that things got a lot harder. First of all, I noticed that my energy has been a lot lower and I've had trouble concentrating at work. I've also had pretty significant reductions in motivation and libido. Probably worst of all is that my sleep quality has gone down a lot. I'll often wake up in the middle of the night hungry and have trouble falling back asleep. These changes make sense from an evolutionary standpoint because first of all, your body wants to be conserving energy in this starvation mode type scenario. If you're a caveman out in the wild and you're going below 10% body fat, you're getting pretty near death. And you want to be conserving your energy in any way possible. And in times of famine or low food availability, reproduction just doesn't make sense. So the body throws those functions away temporarily. Poor sleep quality is also understandable since your body wants to keep you awake so that you go out to hunt or gather food. So if you're in the same situation, just know that these changes are normal when you're getting into that extreme low body fat. Obviously, this is an issue we mainly have as naturals, since if you're enhanced, you would simply replace your testosterone and thyroid when those go down. Now, things have been pretty difficult for me, especially since I've been on general surgery the last month, which was probably the toughest block of my first year. We would work a lot of long hours, which would include 24-hour call shifts. Now, in terms of strategies for how to deal with this digging phase, one thing that I've been keeping up my sleeve has been caffeine. I haven't been using caffeine at all during my prep, so I'm quite naive to the substance, and I've just started taking some caffeine pills now. So to start, I'm just using 100 milligram tablets on my low calorie days when I'm also training. As things get tougher, I'll probably be using them on all of my low days just to keep my energy and concentration up. On my refeed or diet break days, I usually feel way better with the carbs on board, and I'll probably lay off the caffeine in order to resensitize. The body does become tolerant to caffeine quite quickly, so I anticipate that I'll be increasing the dose to 200 milligrams, then 300, and I'm thinking of a maximum of 400 for me. In terms of other management strategies, I know I've been feeling really antisocial since I've been dieting so hard, and I think it's important to maintain relationships with the people you care about. I've been making special effort to reach out to the people close to me, just in terms of texting them regularly and making sure that I don't refuse a hangout just because I'm feeling terrible. I've also been very clear in communicating to them what's been going on with my prep and apologizing for any changes in behavior that they might see. Now, just wrapping up general life things, I'm actually going to be in Philadelphia, New York, January 28th to February 2nd. I'm actually writing my American licensing exam. Let me know in the comments if you're there. I'm also finishing up a paper that we're resubmitting to a journal for publication, so it's a really busy time, just trying to get through this. That's all for now, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like the video and leave me a comment below. This will help us to grow the channel so we can reach more people. If you haven't already, subscribe and we'll see you next time.